Today we are going to talk about farming. No, not farming with Harvest Moon, not farming with Stardew Valley. Today we're going to talk about how farming melded with the clicker genre and how that clicker game came out on the Nintendo Switch. The game in question is, as you might guess, Plantera, which recently released on the PlayStation Vita. And although it did release on the Vita, I will be reviewing the Switch version of the game, which is actually more of an enhanced remake of sorts rather than a straight port. So, right now, out in the Japanese eShop for 500 yen with full English translation, here is my review of Plantera DX. Plantera, as I explained in the intro, is a clicker farming game. As you go through the game, you're basically going to be planting food, hiring workers to help you pick said food, and just repeat the process over and over and over as your farm slowly grows in size, workforce. You get the idea. The Nintendo Switch version is called Plantera DX because it is enhanced from the other versions of the game. New content in DX includes a new animal, your map can be expanded wider than any previous version of the game, there's new background music in this version, and the graphics are slightly enhanced according to the description on the eShop. Now when you play Plantera, you open up a garden, you start planting crops, and you pick the crops when they're ripe. Then you get money for selling those crops, which lets you buy more crops to plant, and the process starts all over again. And you just keep repeating this over and over and over and over until your boredom is satisfied. There is no story, there is no endgame, there is no goal to reach. It's just a little time waster. But that isn't to say that there's no sense of accomplishment or progression. As I said before, you collect money for all of the crops that you or your AI pick up. This currency is used for the in-game shop to purchase seeds for other crops, animals for your farm, and a bunch of other enhancements. Because your starting underground crop isn't the only underground crop you can do. There are classes of crops, and as you play through the game, you'll unlock bigger, different versions of the same types of crops that will give you more money. And that's where the level up system comes into effect. As you collect crops and gain money, an experience gauge will slowly go up. From levels 1 to 20, every level will unlock either a new item, an additional worker, or both. And basically, it's just a matter of the more you have in your farm, the more you make, and the easier it is to add more to your farm later. Now eventually it is going to get to the point where you can't keep focused on the game long enough to gain the money needed to buy more crops. Every crop's price doubles every time you buy it. So let's say you got a tree that costs 100 coins. You want to buy it again? 200 coins, 400 coins, 800 coins, 1600 coins. You're not going to be able to keep up with it, and you'll literally just be sitting there watching and waiting. That's what the special part of the shop is for. This part lets you buy dogs and scarecrows to ward off animals that are trying to destroy your crops so as to not halt your money gain. But you can also buy alarm clocks and multipliers. Now multipliers are pretty simple. You buy them and they will multiply your currency gain. So buy the 2 times coin increase and your 50 coins per second turns into 100 coins per second. And then alarm clocks. These really bring in a casual feel because alarm clocks allow the game to run for you. So let's say you have an 8-hour alarm clock upgrade. That means that when you close the game or even shut the Nintendo Switch off, the game will continue to work for 8 hours. So when you wake up tomorrow, boot the game up, you'll get a nice little screen that looks like this. Welcome back! Your helpers have gathered coins for you. And then you get instant cash. So you don't even have to have the game up to go through it. Now, everything I've told you so far is pretty basic, and you're essentially just tapping on crops, tapping on shop items, letting the game run itself. But let's put a number to how long you can play this game. When you reach level 20, you unlock the last item. Although there are achievements all the way through level 100 or 200, every upgrade above level 20 is just an enhancement for previously unlocked items. They'll unlock you more currency, but you'll never unlock anything new. So in a single run, if you want numbers, I reached level 20 and unlocked the final shop items after about 2 hours of gameplay. Now, is it worth it? Well, I'll leave that up to you. The Switch version costs 500 yen in Japanese, so when it comes west, it will probably cost about $5. Compare this with the Steam version of the game, which is only $3. Technically, you do get exclusive content with the Switch, so it's not an exact copy of the other versions, but it's just something to consider. Now let's talk about controls, because this is one thing that I had a major problem with. Like the rhythm game Voez, Plantera DX is not playable in docked mode or TV mode. It'll display in TV mode, which is how I'm getting the footage for this review, but a lot of the controls are touch screen only. Since there's no way to use the touch screen controls when it's docked, you can only truly play the game in handheld mode or tabletop mode. The game does have button controls. The arrow buttons work, the left analog stick moves the camera around, the plus and minus buttons open the menus, the A and B buttons allow you to confirm or cancel shop items or placing plants. The thing is, it needs more button controls. While it's great for handheld fans to know that there are handheld exclusive Switch games out there, there shouldn't have to be. The Nintendo Switch advertises itself as a handheld and a console, and then you will release your game on it saying, oh, well, this is just a handheld game. So all of those people that don't like handheld mode are forced to use handheld mode. I personally love it as a handheld, but there shouldn't be games out that use one mode the Switch has, but not others. Now with the visuals. If you compare the 2D visuals of this version to other versions, you can see that enhanced visuals claim is pretty exaggerated. All in all, the Switch version looks great for a console version of the game, but the Steam version looks a lot smoother. It looks a lot better than the 3DS version of the game, I could say. But it's still got the same amount of, jaggies on the 2D models as on the Wii U. Not saying it looks bad, I'm just saying that for a game that claims to have enhanced graphics, I expected it to look at least as smooth as the PC version, which it didn't. Now let's talk about battery life. Since this is a very basic 2D game, I expected to get a lot of battery life out of it. You do get a lot, but not as much as I expected. Here are my times from 100% to 0%. Maximum brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 4 hours and 9 minutes. Max brightness with the Wi-Fi off, 4 hours and 18 minutes. Low brightness with the Wi-Fi on, 5 hours. Low brightness with the Wi-Fi off, 5 hours, 7 minutes. Now, I shouldn't complain about 4 to 5 hours of battery life because that's really nice. And it's really on par with even last-gen handhelds with the battery life. But considering the 2D style, the fact that it doesn't have any 3D animations in it at all, I expected it to get more battery life than games like Disgaea 5. It's good, you're still going to get 4 to 5 hours, and you can definitely do a single run in less than half of that, but not as good as it probably could be. In conclusion, Plantera DX is a fun little casual farming clicker game, but not one I would call truly great. On one side, it doesn't have the repetitive need for dozens or hundreds of hours of non-stop clicking for its good content. On the other side, you unlock everything after a short 2-hour journey for a $5 game. It's technically graphically downgraded even though it says otherwise. And the new content doesn't really add anything new to the original system, which really lacked the depth of being little more than a time waster. Reviews to Go rates Plantera DX a 7 out of 10. If you'd like to comment on this further, feel free to comment below or reach out to me at my website at www.reviewstogo.com.